Today we are going to talk about all the differences that there are in Peter Jackson's Middle-earth and Tolkien's Middle-earth. Not Middle-earth per se, but in the narration, in the story of the Fellowship of the Ring of Tolkien and of Peter Jackson's. So the first and the foremost difference is of the age of Frodo. Throughout the movies of Peter Jackson, we can see that Frodo is almost in his, entirely in his 20s. There is no chance that he is beyond his 20s, and even in his early 20s. But do you know that in the beginning of the Lord of the Rings, Frodo is of the coming age, the age of coming, or something like coming age, and that age is 31 for the hobbits. And by the end of the story, the Lord of the Rings, he is in his 50s. Not only in the end, by the time the actual story, their journey from the Shire to Mount Doom begins, Frodo is in his late 40s, 47, 48. Second difference is, when Bilbo leaves the Shire to go to Rivendell after his 11th birthday, and he makes Gandalf promise him that he will take care of Frodo, he will keep an eye on him, and Gandalf promises him that he will keep 2 eyes as often as he can spare them. And when he leaves Shire, Gandalf, and he says he will come back, he goes to Numenor to find more about this ring. In the movies it is portrayed as maybe like 2 or 3 months maximum, but in reality he lives for almost 17 years. So by the start of the story, Frodo is already 31, and when the actual journey begins, when Gandalf comes back again and Frodo is leaving for the Shire, he is 48, 31, 16, and not 16, 17 years, 48, yeah. And how in the movies Frodo just packs his bag and leaves for Rivendell? In the novel, in the book, Frodo actually sells everything to someone, and then sells everything, every property that he had in the Shire, and he leaves for someplace else, so that everyone would know that he has shifted from here, but in reality he is going to the quest. And how in the movies only Sam knew that he was going on an adventure to get away with this ring, but in the novel all 3 of them, Sam, Pippin and Merry, all knew all along that Frodo is going to leave and he's going on an adventure. Another major difference in the book and in the novels is of the absence of a character named Tom Bombadil. He is very powerful. I think he is an Istari, but it is not clearly mentioned anywhere. I think he is of the race from which Gandalf belongs, Tom Bombadil. So There is no Bombadil, and obviously there is no adventure of the Barrow-wights. Adventure of the Barrow-wights. That the four habits. I suck. That the four hobbits get into an adventure with the Barrow-wights. And when at last they reach the prancing pony, and when they find that Gandalf is not here, and they come to know about Aragorn, they make friends with him, and they go to the watchtower where they fight the Nazguls. Before the fight, the Nazgul, in novels, Aragorn and the four hobbits see lightning across the sky, and they know that this might be Gandalf fighting someone. Maybe he was fighting Saruman, on the tower, the two towers. Okay, and when the Nazgul stabs a sword in Frodo's arm, in his shoulder, sorry. And when Aragorn starts running, lifting him on his shoulders to Rivendell, and how in the movies Arwen comes to rescue him, to Frodo, but in the novel Glorfindel comes. Glorfindel is another major character that is missing from the movies. Okay, and you know how in the movies, not in the movies, yeah, in the movies, there is no mention of the friendship between Aragorn and Bilbo. But actually, Aragorn and Bilbo were close friends. They used to write poetries together. Bilbo knew everything about Aragorn, and they were actually good friends. He knew about Arwen too, Lady Arwen. Okay. You know how in the movies Aragorn, played by Viggo Mortensen, he's soon to be a reluctant soon-to-be king. He does not want to be the king. Initially, he hesitates. He is ashamed of his heritage. I don't want to be another Isildur. I don't want to end up like Isildur, he says. But in the novels, he's actually proud of his lineage, and he wants to be the king. He is not reluctant. He is not distant. He is very confident in the novel. I think Peter Jackson gave him another arc for the sake of story, for the sake of cinema. And another one, by the end of the movie, where the fellowship is broken, that war, I don't remember its name, but where Boromir is killed, in the extended edition we see that Gollum follows them there before obviously the battle, and he is seen no more after that. But in the novels, he follows them into Lothlorien. Another interesting fact is that Aragorn and Arwen are actually related, not closely, very, 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 very distant. I mean, it's just for the sake of genealogy. They are 63 generations apart. But Aragorn is a descendant of Who was Arwen's father? Arwen's father, motherfucker, what is his name? Elrond, Lord Elrond. And Lord Elrond's brother, Elros. Actually, Aragorn is a descendant 63 generations apart, a descendant of Elrond's brother, Elros. So they're related but 63 generations apart. Interesting fact. And you know how in the end when the company is leaving Lothlorien and they are giving them I'm nervous actually. I'm forgetting characters' names. That witch, the white witch of Lothlorien, Kate Blanket. Motherfucker. Kate Blanket. Which. Lord around. Galadriel. So you know how when they're leaving Lothlorien and Galadriel gives them gift, she asks them to ask whatever they want. And then Galadriel gives Sam a box of sand that is very fertile. Just a small box of sand. I want you to remember this fact that Galadriel gives Sam a box of salt. Box of sand, earth, mitti. And that box of earth is very important because that earth is used by Sam to make the Shire livable and fertile and green again. The scourging of Shire, it is entirely missing from the movies, but it is actually in the novel. So these were some facts. I hope you liked the video. I don't think there is anything to like in this video. I'm obviously very nervous. I'm stammering. I'm forgetting my lines, but there is no scripting here. I'm just speaking from my mind. There is no clarity of thoughts. And actually I don't hope that this, you know how Stephen Bartlett said in the beginning of his podcast in his very first episode that I hope no one is watching. But if you are, don't tell anybody. I didn't think that this video would get even 10 views. But I'm making these videos just so that I can get a clarity of thoughts. I can get comfortable at facing cameras. Actually, this is my first time facing a camera. I'm not comfortable. So that I can speak fluently in English, which is not my first language. And I've never spoken with anybody in English. I want to make this channel a podcast channel, but I don't have any network, any equipment or anything. I'm recording my video here in my mobile and I'm recording my audio through this earphone on this phone, and I will edit on the mobile app Gain Video Editor. This video is not for anyone. I know that you must make a video and in order to anyone, in order to watch, anyone will watch your video. Anybody will watch your videos only if you provide them some kind of value. If if you're not providing any value, no one will watch. No one, including your family or friends. And I don't think I'm providing any value in this video, but I will in my podcast. So this is just a beginning, just to get used to the camera, repetition and everything.